the official photographer of the city of Las Vegas.
We barely had money to go on vacation. Never had a camera in my life before that Dianetics session. I don't know how. I don't know where I get the money, but I'm doing this. I'm going to resign and I become an artist today. I travel the world teaching photography or taking photos. If you have people in your environment and when you talk to them, you feel smaller after, there's a good chance they are toxic people.
Welcome back to another episode of the Don't Do Nothing podcast. Today we have a Frenchman with us.
Yes, I am from Paris.
Oui, Mr. Serge Ramelli. So I want to tell you about this guy because he's pretty incredible. First off, Serge is a photography pro, total pro. How do you say photography?
A photographer. I am a photographer. That's how we say in French.
Oui.
Yeah, fine art photographer.
Let me give you the stats on this guy. So his work is in 120 galleries worldwide. He's published 8 coffee table books, but this isn't like he just self-published them. Like this is with a legit, very well-known publisher that publishes like beautiful, amazing work.
Absolutely,
of which
yeah.
I would classify your work in that same category. This is insane. I just learned this today. You're the official photographer of the city of Las Vegas.
Yes.
Which is wild. I didn't even know that existed. He's massively successful as a photography coach. By my and Aaron's opinion, the metrics he shared with us, in our opinion, he's the #1 photography coach in the world on the internet. Different statistics, different
over 1
whatever.
million followers online and showing people how to become successful professionally and artistically as a photographer.
Yeah, I sold like 600,000 course on photography, and I do a lot of workshops around the world, and they are sold out 2 years in advance. Yeah, I love teaching photography. Like it totally gave me a life purpose. I love taking photos. I love sharing the beauty of this world. Love it.
So not totally done. Let me wrap this up. He's also a father of 4.
That's right.
He's a dedicated, loving husband.
Absolutely.
Recently became a grandfather.
That's right.
Loves his grandson.
Emilio.
Emilia. When you see
Emilio.
this. Yeah.
I'm a huge fan. I have the most incredible grandson that his name is Emilio. I just shout out to Emilio if he's watching.
And he just so happens to be a Scientologist.
That's right. Been a Scientologist most of my life through my mom. Actually, I was 7 years old when I became a Scientologist. I mean, 12, 13, really.
Well, guess what? I'm going to ask you first. First, welcome.
Thank you.
Can you please tell us that story? Let's just dive right into it. I mean, it's
yeah. Like how long?
Let's just go right in.
That's a great question.
So, my mom was a nurse in Paris in the 70s. I was born in 1970. So in 77, she, through our neighbor, discovered Scientology. And the reason she discovered Scientology is because the neighbor was a very, let's say, shy, introverted. She was like a pretty famous in the world of fashion and would never say hi to my mom. And my mom is a very lovely woman. And then one day she started saying hi. So my mom knocked on her door. It says, literally, she went up. She was on the 4th floor. We're on the 2nd floor. She walked. She knocked on the door. She says, "You changed. What did you do?" Like literally like this.
What?
Yes. Because she was like that. She was like a high fashion girl. You know, she was a designer. And she was just for years saying, you know, my mom would say hi to her. She would not even respond. And now she was responding. And she said, "I found Scientology." That was in 1977. And then my mom went in a dictionary and looked what is Scientology. She went down 2 floors, couldn't find a definition of Scientology. She went back up 2 floors, knocked on the door. What is Scientology? And then so she introduced her to a lecture on Scientology, and my mom fell in love. And I remember I was like 7 years old.
Do you know what lecture was?
Oh, it was just, no, it was not a lecture by,
it was
a talk by someone, by a Scientologist who came to the home on the 4th floor. She went to that talk and she never looked back, and she got really deep in Scientology, started becoming an auditor, which is the technique to help people using Scientology. And I remember I was 7 and she was like, "Good news, you're a spiritual being that you've lived before."
Oh my God.
And it's so much stuck to me. I don't know what. I was like, the idea that I've lived before just stuck to me so much as a kid. I didn't really do Scientology back then, and I sort of went it off and on at different points. But that's how I found out about the subject through my mom.
Wow.
We have become so soft in this world.
I know.
Like, hey, you're a spiritual being. Like, welcome. Like, you've lived before. You know, I would be like, by the way, I read this book. Like,
Yeah.
What do you think about this?
Like, this is incredible. I just want to say props to your mom. That's such a, like, she's so outgoing.
Oh my gosh.
Like, just going out there, just reaching out. You know what I mean? Like,
and when she told me that I was a spiritual being and that she says, "You'll find by yourself, but you have lived before," I was like, absolutely. Like, it just was very obvious to me. And I have a crazy story how I found a past life
Where-
at 11.
Before that, where did that occur? Oh man,
Wait, don't stop him.
where? But hold on, I want to know, where did that occur? Where were you with your mom at that time? When you were
I was
7?
in my bedroom in Paris.
In Paris.
In Paris, yeah.
Okay, 11-year-old story.
So one night, the Church of Scientology of Paris was doing a lecture on past life. It was called Have You Lived Before This Life lecture.
Yeah.
It was packed. There was like 300 people. But I was playing soccer. I was playing soccer in about 100 yards away from where the lecture was happening, but it was getting dark. So we couldn't play soccer anymore. So I went to the lecture, waiting for the lecture to finish so I could go home with my parents. And the guy that was doing the lecture, that's what they used to do back then, is he used to say, okay, I'm going to snap my finger. And if you can remember something, like I'm going to ask you to remember your breakfast. I snap my finger. And if you have an image coming up, you can talk about it. If you don't, no problem. Okay, remember something that happened this morning. He would snap the finger and people would share or not share. Okay, then he would say, remember something that happened 5 years ago. He would snap his finger and people would share or not share. When I walked in, he said, remember something that happened 300 years ago. And he snapped his finger and something came up. And I was like, what's going on? We drove home. It was super late. It was midnight. I was with my brother. He's younger than me. He was sleeping. My mom and dad went to bed, and I went to see my mom. I was like in the living room. So my brother is sleeping, my father is sleeping. I never told this story, by the way. I hope it's not too much, but it is what it is.
No, it's great.
And my mom, I go see my mom, and I said, when he snapped his finger and he said 300 years ago, something came up. And she looked at me, absolutely focused, and she said, what was it, honey? And the second she said that, I felt an emotion that came. I felt on the floor. I was crying. I was like stuck in some emotional thing that very strong. I started screaming. My dad came out like, what's going on? And it sort of got me out of it right away. I went to bed. The next day I did a Dianetics auditing to sort of clear up what happened and discovered with full evidence and full emotion that I had lived before. And my life was never the same from that moment on.
Wow.
And I was 11 years old.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, I have a kind of a philosophical question related to that. I'd love to hear your take on this. Did that change your viewpoint on life or what you wanted to do with your life? Or
100%, because I felt from that moment, I felt that I had no idea what I had done before, but I felt that I was playing a game for a long time and I was losing at that game. And
wow.
And I was always, I don't know, had this concept that I was losing at that game and always, having the same issues over and over, and that I felt something terrible that had to happen before. I don't know what it was, but I was always a nice kid, but I was very sad as a kid. I would sometimes I would literally cry for no reason, or I just, would wake up in the morning and just didn't want to live, or I had like just a lot of emotion, which I couldn't tell. I was very, very sad when I was a kid, and I always felt something bad had happened just before, I took this body. And so since then, I've been doing a lot of Dianetics. I've been able to find my answers, which was unbelievable. And took out so much emotional charge from my chest because, Dianetics, and this is what I love, and this is why I keep talking about it all the time, is you handle this, this hidden fears. When I was 20 years old, there were times I thought about suicide, literally.
Yeah.
Like I was so much emotional. I had so much, I don't know why. I would wake up and I just felt I had no future, and that I lost somebody, and I didn't know what, because I didn't lose anybody, but I felt somebody really dear to me was missing, and I couldn't explain these feelings. I was sad all the time, and that went away in 20 minutes of Dianetics, and my mom actually gave me Dianetics auditing for over 400 hours.
Wow.
And
that's beautiful.
I became clear through my mom, which is somebody who does not have a reactive mind. That's what we do in Dianetics, and that completely changed my life.
Wow.
But that was later. I went clear at the age of 25. It took a while. I sort of stopped doing Dianetics and Scientology for quite a while, and then felt really bad. I was like, this was so good, and then got back into it through my mom. And my mom, we had this game. So I used to work in Saint-Étienne, which is south of France, and she was in Lyon, so about 60 miles away. And every Monday, religiously, I would take the train, go see my mom, and she would give me Dianetics processing for the entire Monday afternoon, and I would go back. And we did it for 2 years. 400 hours.
Wow.
And that was
Incredible.
amazing. That changed my life. That's when I started getting the idea I could be an artist. It's after, because it's a crazy story, but I've always wanted to be an actor. I'm actually an actor today. I have a movie, I didn't mention that just came out on Apple TV last month.
What?
Sorry for
Excuse me?
Sorry.
Wait,
Yeah.
is it related to
Withheld from the
photography?
bu- from the
movie?
bio.
No. It's a full-on movie. It's called From Paris to Hollywood. It's a 2 hours comedy. It's on Apple TV. It's a movie that came out 10 years ago, and that it's a long story, but I distributed the movie myself, did really well doing that.
Yeah.
And somebody gave me the really bad advice to go with a classic Hollywood distributor, which I did, but that distributor was not good, buried the movie completely, couldn't even find it, typing my own name. We got me and Darius Will here, which we did the movie. We got very upset. We lost interest in the movie, lost the rights of the movie, got the movie rights 2 years ago. There was a few things we didn't like about it. We redid all the color corrections and all the music, and we changed the name because the name is called The Hollywoodans. And just a little funny. So it's a story about a French guy who is in LA who is trying to make it into Hollywood. And he has an angel with him, which is kind of like very mouthful, like Eddie Murphy, that only him can see, like a spiritual being
Yeah.
that walks him into the craziness of Hollywood. And he gets routed to a place called the Hollywoodant. And the Hollywoodant, what it is a place, like the people go to stop alcohol, like, hi, my name is Jeff. Hi, Jeff.
Alcohol Anonymous.
So,
yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The Hollywoodant is like the Alcohol Anonymous, but for people that have dreams in Hollywood. So you go there
To get rid of your dreams.
of your addictions to Hollywood, to your dreams.
Wow.
So it's
So you become average and like it's kind of okay.
You go in there and they're
That's
like,
a
okay,
great
so what do you want to
concept.
do? Oh, I want to be an actor. Okay, but what do you do for a living? Okay, maybe you should focus down on more. So it's not a nice organization.
It's a crushing soul place. It crushes your
It's
soul.
a crushing soul place. So I fall in love with the most beautiful actress ever who's been trying to be an actress. She's really beautiful still in the movie. And she's been failing for 10 years. And we both get to these places. And I'm very uplifting in a movie. And I break the whole thing, get everybody to make a movie. And it's a very uplifting movie about making your dreams.
Wow.
And it just came out last month on Apple TV. We rebranded. It used to be called The Hollywoodans, but people couldn't even spell it.
Right.
So now it's called From Paris to Hollywood.
Okay.
Pretty simple.
Okay.
Nice. Wow.
So I wanted to be an actor. But because of this sadness I had in me when I was a kid, my mom is the most loving mom and the less judgmental
Yeah,
mom
judgmental.
ever. Sorry, I am from Paris, so sometimes English words.
Pas de problème.
Wait, that's detrimental. Like harming.
No, she would never judge me.
Not judgmental.
No,
judgmental. Okay, yeah, I
Judgmental,
was
sorry.
still didn't get that one.
Okay, sorry.
Judgmental. Okay, good.
It's
No,
Paris.
perfect.
I turned on my
I'm
French
glad-
my French
Yeah, I was
brain
like,
right before.
Brad got it for once. I was
Yeah.
like, usually Aaron, he's more international, because you're different. Like you were like more from the United States of America.
Oh, I'm definitely American.
You're definitely American. I am
Yeah.
more from Paris. It's different.
Yeah.
Anyway, but I was so sad. I lacked so much self-confidence. I couldn't even tell my mom I want to be an actor.
Wow.
And I remember being 17 and I don't know. I was afraid that my brother and her would judge me. And I couldn't even tell. And I remember calling acting school. Then they would pick up and I would hang up the phone, reading magazines.
Wow.
And I just had so much desire, but so much emotion and not belief in me that I didn't know what to do with my life. And it's only when I became clear that I was like, I'm going to be an artist. I'm going to be a photographer, filmmaker, and an actor, and which is what I'm doing today.
Wow.
That's
Long story,
amazing.
but anyway.
I want to know. I mean, obviously, look. I know you love your mother. Obviously, like it's very clear in the way you're speaking. And how did that evolve when you started spending that much time together? Right. This is probably the highest definition of quality time. You're talking to your mom about your most deepest fears. During this Dianetics counseling time with your mom. Like, how did that shape your relationship with her?
Oh, I mean, we're so tight. It's unbelievable. I don't think, history of mankind is more a mom-son relationship than her and me. I'm not kidding. We're very, very close. She's 83 today. She's with me. She's staying with me here in Clearwater. And we're taking care of her. She's getting old, but I owe her everything.
Wow.
Beautiful.
That is beautiful. Yeah. I also love my mom, as does Aaron.
Yeah,
He named his company after as
Yeah,
well.
that's true. That's true. Thank you, mothers. Okay.
Yes, mothers.
And like in this, how what happens? Like the normal person, maybe listening to this may not understand how happens, like this counseling, how would you describe to somebody, or like how could you talk about this time with such a change for you?
The thing I find the most amazing about Dianetics is you can come in the morning and really feel like and really feel like, not wanting to conquer any mountains and just you're upset with everybody. You do an hour of counseling and you come out, you want to conquer the world.
Wow.
Like, never ever I have seen such a change when you walk in feeling bad and coming out, feeling great.
Wow.
And the thing is, the quantity of reactive mind that every one of us have is so big. It's a lot bigger than you think. I mean, look, there's a reason why people, have crazy ideas, are cheating on their wife, don't want to live, are drinking, have drug addiction. I mean, I know a lot of successful people that are not doing Dianetics, and there's like stories which are crazy, like cheating on their wife, or drinking problems, or stealing money, or being sued by the IRS, or drama. I see drama everywhere, and the drama comes from all this weird thought that we have, and all this every time you feel like crying, every time you feel like you're pissed off, that comes from the reactive mind. And so in Dianetics, we just there's just a lot to do, and you just, layer by layer, you do it. What's amazing about Dianetics is, even so you're not clear, sometime after an hour of Dianetics, you feel so good that you kind of like clear. Maybe for 4 hours, then you see some pretty girl and you're like, oh, I want to do stuff with her, and then you go down again. You know what I mean? But the thing is, what Hubbard talks, Dianetics is the book you have to read.
Yeah.
He talks about restimulation, where basically the idea, you see somebody, like, for example, I give you an example for me. I used to hate people that were tough executive, like, would look down on people like military people or people, CEO of companies that would talk back. I just could not stand these people. Absolutely not. But to a point where it became irrational, and, I just want to beat them up or get out of there or scream at them or just don't want to be there. It would just like, or, some people may get, so I was re-stimulated by something, and this, I found out the source of that, and, but the one thing I'm the most passionate about is the whole concept of past life. I think, a lot of people on this planet believe in past life. And,
Sure.
One of the things that's amazing about Dianetics is we don't ask anybody to believe in past life whatsoever. It's, whether it's true for you, you've experienced it. I used to live next to a Buddhist center, talk to Buddhists, and I have a lot of friends in India also. They are all into past life. And
this is a point that people miss a lot, like being in the West and really in the US in particular. I don't know how it is. I haven't really lived in Europe, but I'd love to know. But in the East, there's billions of people who it's like, yeah, you get reincarnated. That's just like the thing. And I've been reincarnated and I'm going to be reincarnated. It's like, we're still going after this life. It's not just this body.
I know. And how I read recently an article how they find the new Dalai Lama, with the toys thing.
Yes.
Where he has to look at.
Can you explain this?
Yeah. So I'm not an expert on it, but what I read from the article is basically during a life of the Dalai Lama, he has toys that he plays around, especially as a kid. And in the next life, he has to recognize 5 of the toys or some kind of numbers. That's what I remember. And they're like, okay, that's him, So they have this whole thing to find out who, because it's the same being life after life, That's the idea of the Buddhist theory.
It would have to, by necessity, change what your goal is for this lifetime, or your goal,
100%.
What game you're playing.
Yeah, like in this life, it took me, I started being an actor at the age of 50 because of all the reactive mind and all the re-stimulation I've had. But next lifetime, you're going to see me at 5 years old. I'm going to be on fire. Like, I'm not going to do the same thing I did this lifetime.
I also think something is so important, and in Scientology, right, it's kind of the East meets the West.
Yeah.
Yes,
because there's a lot of logic and scientific approach to a lot of these spiritual concepts. And I find that it's so wonderful because these ideas, for example, you said yourself, like before at a younger age, you wanted to, let's say, end your life and you weren't happy with the way that your life was. But after you find out that you can't run away from life.
Yeah, you cannot.
You get what I'm saying? Like if you understand that you get rid of this body, you're not gonna just go not be somewhere. You're gonna gotta go again. So you might as well solve the stuff now because you can't run away from it.
Exactly.
There is no like escape. And when you really truly see that, why would anybody do this kind of activity? Like, why would you ever do that?
Yeah, but you see, the thing that I find is people can't cope with their emotion. They just get pissed off, they get sad, and they do crazy stuff in life. They, they cheat on their wife. They do financial stuff they're not proud of, and they just go down because they don't have the tools. And that's what Scientology is tools to undo that. To have a life like I have. I always say, if I had not met Scientology, I would be a car salesman in the suburb of Paris, Aubervilliers, which is not a nice one, selling cars with 4 ex-wife and about 60 pounds overweight and a big drinking problem. 100%.
And you'd be selling Renaults, which aren't even nice cars.
That's right.
You know what a Renault is?
Yeah, I wouldn't work for Tesla.
Okay.
I would work for Peugeot or Renault or something.
Yeah, Peugeot. Oh, yeah.
But you know what I mean? It's like I have... there's a philosopher that says, when you do what you love, you don't work anymore, And I feel like I've been on vacation for 16 years. I travel the world teaching photography or taking photos. I'm doing a book on Copenhagen right now. I just came back from the most crazy tour ever. In May, I went to Monument Valley, Page, Arizona, Monument Valley, Page, Arizona, Yosemite for 1 week, Lake Tahoe, did an event in San Francisco, 6 events in Los Angeles, flew to south of France, did 1 week for the lavender field in south of France, went to Paris, Normandy, back and forth twice, then 1 week in Copenhagen, and then back here. And now I'm living in 2 weeks. I'm going to Switzerland, Geneva, Lausanne, then I'm going to Padova, Venice, Florence, and Tuscany, fly to Iceland, do an event in New York, and back. And then I refly to London, and then Africa. So
adventurous.
Yeah, I mean, it's like this. I love traveling. I love seeing the world. Oh, I forgot I spent 1 week in Croatia, vacation with my wife in the middle of all that.
Yeah.
I've dreamed of that life my whole life. I love sharing the beauty of this world. I love taking photos. I love making movies. And being able to make a great living out of it is a gift from Scientology.
Wow.
Like I would have never in a million years done this if my mom hadn't done, and this 400 hours of auditing, of therapy to get me to the state of clear. Absolutely, never would have happened. Because the most crazy story is how I was living paycheck to paycheck, for, because we bought a big house for my wife. We fell in love with that house that had a garden with a forest. It was just really way over what we could pay. And, I was making about $10,000 a month, but the house itself was like $4,000. And then
when was this?
Yeah.
So we bought the house exactly 20 years ago. So it was in 2005. And I was really living paycheck to paycheck. We barely had money. To go on vacation. And because 4 kids cost a lot of money, and we had 2 scooters, rentals, and cars, and 2 dogs, and just a lot of credit card debts. And one day I come out of processing of Dianetics, and I tell my wife, I want to quit my job. And I was a VP for sales at the time of a company. I want to quit my job and I want to become an artist. And my wife is super supportive. She's like, yeah, we just have to figure it. We hardly can pay the credit card bills, And you want me to tell the story? How?
Wait, what was her? She was just like,
she's
yeah, let's
always
do
been
it.
supportive. She was like, I believe in you more than anybody. I know you can make this happen. Because I was, I also was I was a number 1 salesperson in that company, did really well, but it was just, it's just the tax in France is very high. I mean, and 10,000 seems to be a lot of money, but with tax.
Were you living in France at the time?
Yeah, Paris.
Oh, got
I
it.
was living in Paris.
Okay.
Yeah, I was living in Paris. One day, I'm like, I'm going to become an artist. After this Dianetic thing, and because I had this sort of regain of self-confidence, and so I went to see my boss, and I said, and I want to become an artist. He says, Serge, you are the best salesperson we ever had. You don't have any share in the company, but I do want to sell the company. If you stay 1 more year, I'll give you about $200,000.
Nice.
That should give you enough money to figure your life out, where you can, buffer money. You should be able to change life. I had no idea how to make $1 with photography. He says, but I need you to stay 1 more year. I stayed 1 year, and he says, look, I tried to sell a company, couldn't find a buyer. And I remember all my life, because after one specific dining session, I came out, I bought a camera, I started taking photos. So 2005, I started taking photos.
You had no photography experience before?
Never had a camera in my life before that Dianetics session. I went out of the session, bought a camera. I bought a Canon EOS 350D, which is like the cheapest Canon camera you can find at Best Buy today. It's called a Canon Rebel T2i.
Yeah.
It's if you walk into Best Buy tomorrow, it says, "What is the cheapest camera you have?" That's the one I bought.
Okay.
It's like $300. I mean that where you can change lenses,
Right.
Not like point and shoot where you can't change lenses. So I came out of session. I started learning photography on my own on YouTube and on reading books, and after work I would take photos. And then this thing happened with my boss.
Can I ask why?
Because great question. I was trying to make. I have a big goal in filmmaking, which we can talk about that, where I want to make movies. And so I was trying to make movies at the time, but making movies requires cameras, requires actors, requires gaffer, a set, a story, a lot of stuff. I used to live in Paris back then. Paris is one, if not, we can debate that, the nicest city in the world.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm like,
do you think it is?
I think it is.
Okay.
I think it is. I think my 3 favorite cities in the world is number 1 Paris, number 2 New York, and number 3 Venice in Italy. That's like my full photography. I find where you get the most incredible stuff, And I've been in a lot of places, but so I started taking photos, and because I was like, at least with a camera, I'm in one of the nicest cities in the world. After work, I can take photos, and at least I can do something artistic. It was just to get the artistic thing going on, And so I started taking photos. I was really bad at it at first. I think it took me 2 years to really get a sharp photo. I was not. It took me a while to figure it out.
What was your? How did you figure it out? Did you take classes, courses, books?
There's a guy named Scott Kelby who is he lives here in Alsmar. There's a huge company called Kelby One. They're the best, and I've been a member of that. It used to be NAPP, National Association of Professional Photographer. It's kind of like a Netflix for photographer. So you pay like $20 a month, and you got unlimited courses. I've been doing this for 21 years with him, and I actually became one of his instructors. He's a personal friend now. He's 10 minutes away from here, but it's the biggest hub of photographer on the planet, Alsmar.
Wow,
believe it or not. And so I learned a lot with him. Mostly, honestly, Scott Kelby is one of my biggest mentor. And there's another guy that I met, a black and white artist, which I became his assistant, named Jean-Michel Birch, which I learned a lot from. Amazing artist. And the funny thing is, so I had this number, $200,000. If I can find $200,000, I can figure out a way to stop being a salesman, because I've been selling since the age of 16. I was a good salesman. I was the number 1 in every company I worked with. But, my only reality was, you sell something, you get a commission. That's the only way you survive on planet Earth. That was what I thought.
And what a way to survive it is.
It worked.
Right?
It worked.
Yeah.
And then, so 1 year goes by, and he's like, look, he was truly trying to sell a company. Didn't work. Good thing he didn't, because he ended up selling it for a lot more money years later. Good for him. So I went to see my wife, and I said, what if we sell the house? We had this big house. If we downgrade it a little bit, I could get about $150,000 to $100,000 in cash. That was in May of 2008. And my wife loves that everything is super clean. She said, look, I want to redo all the painting. If you want to sell the house, I'll support you. We can downgrade, get something small. It was a really big house. Like, it was very fancy because we had this garden that was in front of a forest, which is really rare around Paris. So we literally had a view on a forest, which is like a luxury. We had a lot of celebrities. It was like a fancy house, a little bit above what we could afford.
Yep.
So we had this plan to sell the house. But it took us, because we didn't know Brad, 3 months to do all the painting. I'm just kidding. You do renovation. We took a renovation company that took forever to do painting. Yeah. And we put the house on market on September of 2008. Now, remember what happened in September 2008. The Supreme, I forgot what it's called, like this huge, biggest real estate crash of the last 2 decades.
Yeah.
Couldn't sell the house. Could not sell the house. And 1 month goes by, 2 months go by, and it's an incredible house. I actually still own it. I'm selling it now. Just
what? Wow.
Yeah. Because let me finish the story. So 8 months goes by, couldn't sell the house, and
by the way, I didn't know this real estate crash was worldwide. I thought it was US.
Yeah.
I thought it was
US.
Paris, like
worldwide.
Paris, nothing was
especially
selling.
Super high end all the high end real estate markets, because it was all propped up by people
Fake.
No,
I mean, I know about it,
no
but I
offense,
thought that whole
but
mortgage
who are
thing
in
was
more
U.S.
house than they should have had.
Exactly.
They would get approved for more house than they could. No, it went planet-wide.
So you were part of the getting the house that you.
Well, no,
Well, he could pay for it.
I was paying the
Okay,
mortgage.
okay.
I didn't have any late payments. I didn't
okay.
didn't have any late payments. But it was rough, paycheck to paycheck.
Okay.
And when I see that the house is not going, now I really feel trapped. I feel trapped by what we call my financial obligation. I'm like, I am never going to be an artist this lifetime. I'm going to have to wait the kids are big or that I'm retired to be able to do it. And so I did what I always do is I do Dianetics. I went back. I did, it was not a session, but I did something we do in Scientology. And I remember it was just actually a Scientology friend who helped me and using Scientology tools. One of the theory I love about Scientology is that if you validate somebody on what he does well in life, he goes up something called a tone scale. Tone scale is the emotion we're into. So I was like at very low on the tone scale because I felt like I didn't know what was going on with the real estate, but that was my last solution. However, I had a huge collection of photos of Paris by then because it's now 3-4 years I'm taking photos. And I go see this guy, he's a Scientologist, and all he really did is just like validate the heck out of me. He was like, you're the top salesperson that ever worked in that company. You took that company from this to this. You did this. Your photos are amazing, blah, blah, blah. And it just sort of, I just remember going clear and what it meant to me. And I just went up the tone scale. And I remember he was living on the 4th floor of a building. I swear, I walked out of this building on the 4th floor. And on the 3rd floor, I take a decision. I said, I'm doing this. I'm doing this and I'm doing this now. I don't know how. I don't know where I get the money, but I'm doing this. I'm going to resign and I become an artist today.
Yeah.
I go down one more floor and an idea pops in my head. I swear to God. And there's a theory in Scientology, which is that when you decide something, solutions happen.
Yeah.
A lot of people in their life don't do things because they're stuck on a maybe. And so basically I was stuck on a maybe for years. Like I was not 100% in. I was 80% in.
Right.
But I got to sell the house. I got to get the money from the boss. I got to do this. That 3rd floor event, I went 100% in. I'm like, I'm doing this. I don't know how. An idea pops in my head. The idea is simple. You know a lot of wealthy people in the hotel business. You have an incredible collection of photos. What if you sell your work and you make $200,000 with your photos? The next day, I go see a guy named Michel Saouk. If you ever see that, Michel, I love you. I go see this guy. He's one of my customers in the business of my company, and he has a hotel called the Hotel Abbatial. It's a very nice hotel in Saint-Germain-des-Prés, the nicest part of Paris. And so I go see the guy, and literally I walk in and says, Michel, I have a dream. I want to be an artist in this life.
That's a fantastic opening.
That is a fantastic opening.
Yeah.
Is that how you actually
talk to
open?
somebody who's a successful person, and that's a fantastic opening.
Yes.
You're a master salesman.
Yeah, I'm not bad.
So okay, go.
And so
Did you say it in French though?
I said in French.
How do you say it in
Michel,
French?
j'ai un rêve. I have a dream.
Yeah.
And I said, look, in this life, I really want to be a photographer. I want to be a filmmaker. And I had a crazy idea. See, one of the issue hotels in Paris have is there's 1,800 hotels privately owned in Paris. And, you go on Google, like which one do you pick,
Yeah.
So I said, look, what if I became the artist of the hotel? What if every room had a huge print? It'll cost you $1,000, 1,000 euros for every room, which would cost me 200 to produce. And you do put one in every room, and we put like 10 in reception. And, I know you're doing renovations. I know it's $5 million. You just give me like, 50,000, 44,000. And now I become the artist of the hotel. And he was like, oh, okay, let me think about it. Give me 48 hours. And he calls me 2 days after. I remember all my life, I was in Gare de l'Est, which is the worst part of Paris. It's not kind of like red light district. It's not nice. It's not the nicest part of Paris.
Yeah.
Especially where I was kind of like not nice. Whatever. And he calls me up and he says, Serge, I was very touched by your story. Now, you don't know this, but I actually have 2 hotels. I'm renovating both. And I want you to become the artist of both hotels. I'm going to give you 100,000 euros.
Wow.
And I'm like, what? Like literally like this. Like no questions. Like I'm even going to take more photos. Like he was not trying to get $1 discount. He was like, he actually ordered more. for me, it's nothing. It's $8 million, 100,000. I can write it off. It's just decoration. I love the idea. I love what you do. Not much people, are taking the risk you're doing. You're getting $100,000.
Wow.
I went to see, on that note, I went to see 4 or 5 other hotels and did another $80,000 in 4 days. So just think about that.
Wow.
Selling the share couldn't work. Selling my house couldn't work. My photography, which I decided on becoming clear to do, is what actually gave me the money to make the switch.
Yeah.
Wow.
Isn't that insane?
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
It actually doesn't sound insane at all to me. I mean, it's so nuts. Like, yes, but at the same time, no.
Yeah.
Because it's like when you follow through on what you intended to do, it just works.
Yeah.
Like, that's what I've always found. Is like when I have a decision to do something and I follow through on it, if I veer off of it, it starts not working. But if I'm on what I decided, it's like the path to you just clear it.
Yeah. The number of miracles, including the Vegas story, I can tell you that has happened in my life from the moment I went clear and decided to follow. Hubbard has a definition which I love about living. Living is following a purpose. I started following a purpose. I started being happy. It gave me just a sense for my life, going clear, and having this idea that I'm going to be an artist and a filmmaker just gave, but it was late. I mean, I sold this. I was 38 years old, and no, I was 40 years old. I remember I resigned for the Cannes Festival, May of 2010, and I just turned 40.
Wow.
And I resigned. I found somebody to replace me in the company, and in 3 weeks I was gone, and I became an artist. But then I got scammed of all the money. Can I tell you that story?
No.
Hold on. Before we get into that, wait,
we
one more
need
pause
to end on
thing.
the dream.
Yeah.
No,
exactly.
I'm kidding. No, hold on.
It
But wait.
It gets better.
Stop. Hold on. But the photographs that you did you reshoot photographs? Or was the ones that you already had taken?
No, it's the one I just did for the last 4 or 5 years. That's the
So
one I
you've
was
been taking them already.
I had the assets.
So you did the work, but you never sold it, which I just want to say it's a lesson for artists.
Yeah.
Because you do the work, you do something brilliant, but if you do not sell it and no one sees it, then, I mean, you did it only for yourself.
You might as well not have even, well, my viewpoint is you might as well not even done it. But that's my...
Because you got to go and then you got to take it to the next level. Anyway, sorry, let go.
Yeah, I mean...
So how it all went down the drain.
Little parenthesis, do you guys know the Vincent Van Gogh story?
Yes.
All his artwork sold when he was dead.
He only sold one during his lifetime?
I don't know much about...
Okay, can I tell the story? Because I know it really well.
Please.
It's incredible.
Wait, can we hold that? Because I have a question about purpose.
Okay.
Who gives you your purpose?
Me.
As a Scientologist.
Oh, I found that purpose. I rehabilitated. I don't know if that's an English word.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had this purpose. Well, the truth is, I've always, since the age of 3, I knew I wanted to be an artist. Except that every time I would think like, oh, I want to be an actor. Oh, I'm just not good looking enough. I will never be able to make it. I don't have any talent. Oh, I want to be a filmmaker. Oh, come on, you're nobody. You're an imposter.
Wow.
Like, come on.
The demons.
Who do you think? Oh my gosh, demons. My whole childhood. I would do 1 step forward, 2 step backwards, or 1 step nonstop until I went clear. That's why I always say I owe everything to Dianetics. Everything. And so I lost track where we're saying. So
thank you for that.
On Van Gogh, because it's a true story. So during his life, he only sold 1 painting. When he passed away, so he had a brother that had a wife, and crazy story, and it's all about marketing. So the brother gets all the painting back, but he dies too. So the wife is
I
left.
didn't know his brother died.
Yeah, his brother died later on, and
his brother supported Van Gogh his whole life. I understand.
Exactly, but like paycheck to paycheck, like not. I mean, he's the most acclaimed. Like I think he's one of the most valuable artists, in history now. But the crazy story. So the wife has a painting. Her husband dies. Nothing is selling really. She does an exhibit in Paris. Nothing sells. She finds a box. And in that box, there's letters from Van Gogh for every painting explaining why he did the painting.
Huh.
She does a new exhibit with 1 painting and the story behind the painting.
Just one?
No.
Okay,
Many paintings.
Each one.
10 paintings.
Letter accompanying.
And each painting had the original letter from Van Gogh explaining why he did the painting.
Huh.
And that became Van Gogh. That was the beginning of Van Gogh. And it's all about storytelling. I remember I'm a big watch guy.
Listening to
I love watch, right?
Yeah.
But
what is this?
This is a Leica who makes camera. They used to make watch. It's a Leica watch, which costs the same price than a Leica camera. It's a very expensive watch. That was my birthday last year. I remember at 2:00 in the morning, I wanted to buy a watch. I saw a guy from New Zealand doing a watch, and it was like $400, $500, and I go on his website, And I'm like, what's the story behind the watch? And there's no story. Like, why did he become a watchmaker? What story? Didn't buy the watch. Like, I find in marketing, that's just a little tip, like if you want to sell a photo, what's the story? The guy bought my photos because the story was he was helping me becoming the person I want to be in this life,
Right.
You know what's funny about that, Serge, is I'm going to talk about Aaron for a second. Aaron does this with Amazon. I have noticed this. And you tell other people to do it as well. So I'm in...
You tell stories about your product?
Yeah.
I need to do it more. I need to do it more. But of course...
I've heard you tell at least 5 different people to do this during Amazon training.
Yeah. About the story. Well, I think that what you're saying is so valuable, right? And the Van Gogh piece is it's so enlightening, because if you have, take that painting right there that's on the wall. That's a guy, right? His name is Walfredo, and he takes pictures, and it's in Hawaii and whatnot. And paintings, and they're real locations. But at least when I go to buy it, it's in the place in Hawaii and whatever. If it was that painting and I had seen it right down the street, it wouldn't mean the same thing.
Right.
I can say, hey, I was in Hawaii, and I can tell a story of how I got it, and I was inspired, and I was there, and it's my daughter, and whatever. And okay, cool. So there's a story that goes along with it, which you can create, or the person can tell you their story.
Right.
Right? And so with us, of course, Zulai Kitchen is the story of my mom. And she's a single mom, and she would cook for us on Monday, right? She'd make, she's working probably 70, 80 hours a week to make enough to support her family. She's a single mom, like me and my brother, there's a lot. But she would find time to cook for us anyway. She would do one big meal, massive ground beef, and she would leave us how to reheat the food or whatever. She'd cook on Monday, and we'd have food for a whole week. Is always home cooked meals. And so I go, okay, we're gonna do a kitchen company. Well, who better to name it after than my mother? And so that's sort of, listen, I need to do a lot better.
Story.
I need to bring her on. I've also told her, we're gonna do the podcast. We're gonna talk about stuff, because she remembers stuff that I didn't know. After I had 4 kids, she told me, when you were a little boy, you said you were going to have 4 children.
Wow.
And I said, no, I don't remember that at all. I have 0. I don't know. I didn't even know I wanted to have kids. Because anyway, you get lost sometimes. But my mom reminded me of that. Anyway, whatever. I don't know why we're talking about this. But yes, stories are important, because it gives meaning to what you're doing. You're not just buying a microphone to support some nameless corporation. So when I talk about if you're going to start a company, you need to say why you have the product. You test it with your baby, whatever. You test it with, you have a hair product, you test your hair, whatever it is. You have a camera. Well, this is the first camera. I made this camera because I didn't find a camera that was good. Whatever it was, you need to have the story.
100%. And anyway, so now I got $200,000 and I quit my job, and I make a big mistake. I partner with 2 people which are very toxic people, and by the way, I have a great definition for toxic people.
Oh, what is it?
Which is you talk to someone who is toxic, and after that discussion, you feel smaller than before you started. If you have people in your environment and when you talk to them, you feel smaller after, there's a good chance they are toxic people. Anyway, I had this dream about making movies, and it was a guy that was a screenwriter and it was a director. The screenwriter had 5 scripts, and he's very toxic, but he is a great writer, and he had his 5 scripts, and I'm good with people, and he was like, oh, let's make a deal. You help me finance the first movie. I'll get you to direct the second movie. You find me, it was a $30 million movie. You find me $30 million, and then I'll give you the second script, and you can be the main lead and the actor.
Sounds like a deal.
It was great.
Just bring 30 million and your problems
Just
resolved.
find 30 million, no problem. Well, what actually happened is we changed movie. We went on a much cheaper one. But in any case, started a 3 years mental manipulation that was very toxic, where we would do meetings, and he would, he had this saying. He says, you're such a lucky bastard that when we do a meeting with a studio, because the first movie was like a sort of a dark movie. The second was a comedy. And he said, when we go in meetings, I don't want you to say that you have a comedy, because you're so lucky in life that they might go with you, and there's no way we're going with a comedy. We're doing that dark movie first. And every meetings we would do, 90% of the time, they would say, oh, do you have a comedy? And he would literally kick me under the table, don't mention anything. Also, every time we do meetings, he had notes for me. Oh, you did this wrong. You did this wrong. That joke was not great. I didn't like how you dressed today. You shouldn't have talked about that. You talked too much, Also, we were producing a lot of short movies in that production company. And every time there was a part that I could have played, physically, I matched no, let's get somebody else. It was a lot of hidden invalidations. Like, I don't know if invalidation.
Invalidation,
You
yeah.
understand what invalidation means? And that was the unfortunate part.
But how did you get involved with the guy in the first place?
Yeah, great
It
question.
was a friend of a friend. He was the only one I knew. He just had finished a big TV show that had some kind of connection with movies that I knew firsthand. And I mean, there's a lot of cool aspect, but unfortunately, he had this toxic personality. And
was this the inspiration for Hollywood? And
not really. No, because he was more toxic than that. I mean, it was bad. It was a bad relationship. I sort of completely gave up. And there was a lot of like, hey, I don't think you have the looks for being an actor, stuff like that every once in a while, and just a lot of bad things. It was rough. It was rough. I started getting sick. I started doing stupid stuff in life. I kind of went off. I started stopping doing Dianetics, which was always a success for me. Always. Doing Dianetics therapy was always helped me, and I stopped doing it. And things got really bad. It got to a point where I kind of lost all the money. But one incident happened. So one time I met a guy without this toxic person, and I basically found a solution to finance movie number 1 and even movie number 2, like an incredible connection. And so I go see the guy and said, look, we've got the money for movie 1. It was not a $30 million version. It was a $1 million version. But the $30 million version was kind of really well going. I mean, it was an incredible connection. And he was like, no, come on. Look, give up, stop with your movie thing. Like your job is to find us money. And I realized that day that, this was going to go nowhere. Like there's no way in hell that staying with these people, I'll be able to do what I want to do in life. They didn't like my photography. They didn't like my acting. They like nothing artistic about me. Mm-hmm. They only care about my ability to call people and get money. And I remember when I started facing that, I was driving home. I almost got into a car accident. I was on a scooter. I was like crying. And I was like, because I'd lost almost all the money by then. I'd burned, it's been 3 years now. I'd burned a lot of that $200,000 I had. Because
you no longer have any income, right?
No, I was doing some shoots here and there. But when you make movies, you invest a lot of money at first. So I was losing all my money. And I said, and I applied a principle that is a Scientology principle, which I love. That night, I said, I got to do something causative about my dream. Whatever it is, whatever step I can do. And I'm like, I'm going to start a YouTube channel. And I'm thinking, I'm going to do a YouTube channel about comedy. And I'm like, comedy, I'm sure I can pull off. You know what? I'm going to do a thing on photography, but with a comedy twist to it. Like, bonjour, mesdames et messieurs. And in this episode, I will tell you French accent, the whole thing. But I was so desperate to do something causative about my dream that the night that I did the video, I when you do a setup like this, I had bought this mic. It's a little box, and you have like a little lavalier that you put here for the mic.
Yeah.
And you can either pick up the sound from the box that was about 10 feet away or from the lavalier. I knew nothing about YouTube. I had like I knew about the camera, but not about sound. And so there was a switch. The switch was the wrong way. So it was picking up the sound. Like imagine we pick up the sound from over there. So it's very echoey, right? But I didn't care. I posted a video anyway. And this is back, now we are in 2013. That's 13 years. Early YouTube. 4 videos into it, I get an email. Every video, by the way, gets hundreds of thousands of views organically.
Really?
Yeah. I mean,
with terrible sound.
Terrible sound. But it was, I got early on YouTube, and it just it does really well. And I get an email from a guy. It says, I'm the head of a school called the Da Vinci School. And we absolutely love your YouTube channel. Although it was in English, but it was a French school. Turns out it's the biggest marketing school in France. And I go, it's like huge campus. I go there and we have a proposal for you. We want to give you a class. So we are a marketing school. We love your energy. And we want to give you a class of 6 students that will build a business around your YouTube channel. We'll collect emails. They'll help you make a course. They'll help you to make a website, a logo. You'll have 6 employees for 1 year to just create a business around your YouTube channel. Would you be up for that? I'm like, let me think.
So it's because it's like
you ask them to give
internship
you
almost.
48
Like
hours?
the guys get to work and learn about business.
Exactly.
By working.
And
that's amazing.
But
That's
you see, when
incredible.
you're connected to toxic people, I really felt under the the thumb of the guy.
Yeah.
I mean, it was so bad that if he would say jump, I would say how high. I was really under his influence, and it was a bad influence. So I called up the guy and I said, "Oh, I got this opportunity with the school. I'm going to create a business."
You told him about that opportunity. Okay.
Worse than that. And I
Oh.
said, and I was so propitiative with him that I said, "I'll give you half of the money that it creates." And he said, "Look, I don't believe in the thing. Your thing is to find me money, and find me the money." Like I said, yeah, but I'm gonna have to spend a bit of time with the school. But like, fine, do what you have to do. But like, I don't want the half of the money. Just get me the money for the movies.
Wow.
And things got worse and worse and worse between us. It got more and more tense. It's very personal. He started, invalidating the fact that I was doing Dianetics and Scientology, which for me has like changed everything, And I was like, this is going nowhere. And I remember I came here to Florida and did more counseling. And I was talking to somebody, and I felt really trapped because I had 2 companies with them. A lot of the apartment was on my name and 2 companies. And I was looking and I was like, is this ever going to work? And I was like, it's not going to work. And I had put quite some money in the company. I was like, okay, I'm just going to lose everything. So I sent an email. And at that point, I have no money, like no more money. I'm that close to go back to my old job, and I rather would kill myself to do that because it would have been a big failure for me. I have no more money. So much so that I couldn't pay my mortgage for 6 months. I had to renegotiate my mortgage from 25 years to 30 years, and get 6 months of free mortgage. Really bad move, cost me a fortune in interest. Looking back, whatever.
Yeah.
I'm like dying again, but I'm doing some Dianetics again, which has always been successful for me. And I come out of the Dianetics session and I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to cut ties with these people. I wrote an email saying, I'm selling my shares, pay me whatever you feel it's right, at least the money I put into it. I'm giving up the apartment. Bye-bye. That's on a Monday. On a Tuesday, I get a call from the school saying, hey, good news, your website is up. And I'm like, I'm financially dry. I couldn't even pay my flight ticket. My dad paid my flight ticket to come to Clearwater. I couldn't even pay the taxi for me. I was I was bad.
Wow.
I was sick. I was really in a bad spot again. And but I'm
So
doing
you were at the starving artist phase.
starving artist phase. And the school calls me, says, we got a great news. We got you black and white course. We edited the course. We got 5,000 emails. We're sending an email today. It was like a $97 course on black and white. They sent out the email. First day, $10,000 in sales.
Wow.
Second day, $10,000 in sales.
Wow.
Third day, $10,000 in sales. It goes like this, $52,000. And I'm like,
Wow.
what is that? I had no idea you could make money with training. I had no idea you could make money with coaching. And it's like almost the most amount of money apart from sending the work. And again, on my purpose line, because I became really good at teaching photography. And good thing he didn't say yes, I'm getting half of the money.
Half of
That because I've made millions, now I have a company of 16 people. I'm the number 1 trainer on the planet. We do I do big workshops all over the world. It's a big company. We make several $1 million a year. I mean, lucky I didn't give half of that. And so I cut ties with them. It took, a little while to, do the paperwork, but I cut ties, lost a lot of money. But, and then I was like, I'm doing Dianetics again because I had stopped Dianetics for many years, and I decided to go back and keep going on doing Dianetics. And oh my gosh, 3 weeks into it, I had this dream, which was to work with this gallery. So you guys maybe don't know this, but the biggest gallery in the world, like I don't know anybody privately owned. It's called Yellow Corner. They have 120 galleries, and I'm not talking small galleries. You're talking like prime location, big location, 120 galleries around the world. They're also the guys behind Iris. You know Iris, where you take a photo of your eyes, you see that around the world?
No.
Big posters of just the inside of your eyes.
Oh, wow.
Anyway, they also
cool.
have 600 stores around the world. Anyway, big guys, amazing guys.
Can I ask you a question? Is a gallery just a place where they sell art?
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, it's a photo gallery, prime location all over the world, mostly in Europe. I think in the US you had one in Orange County and Palm Springs. So because shipping of whatever, they're mostly Asia and Europe.
One more thing before I lose it. The school, did they get any profit share from all this?
No, but I offered a MacBook to the leader of the school. I offered like the latest MacBook, which was not planned. I gave him like a 3,000 or 4,000. They couldn't believe it. The school couldn't believe it. They were like, "Oh my god!" And I took the business and I hired my own staff and took it over pretty fast. But they were like, they were like, they couldn't believe they created that effect, as kids,
Yeah.
Wow.
and they were very proud. So I gave them money, which was not part of the deal, but I thought it was fair,
Of course.
so I give them all a bit of money, especially to the head guy.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they did get a profit share a little bit. And then I built a company around that. I now have 16 people doing this, so 16 families that count on me to provide, And but then I went back hard on Dianetics. Like, I'm like, okay, I learned my lesson, You see, the thing is, Dianetics makes me happy. When I do Dianetics processing, I just feel I can conquer the world. I just feel I can do stuff. I don't feel sad. I don't want to kill myself. I don't want to drink. I don't want to cheat on my wife. I have so much life into me. I just want to be ethical and help my fellow friends. So I'm like, I'll just keep doing it. And so I keep on doing that because I had stopped for almost 5 years. 5 years I had not walked into a Dianetics center. I was happy, I was clear, but then that happened. So, you have to, whatever you do, if you do get connected to the wrong people, you have to also deal with that, And there are tools in Scientology, like the up and down course the up and down course, just 1 minute on that, is incredible because it shows you the 12 characteristics of a toxic person, which the guy had 12 of them, by the way. Anyway, which all 12.
Yeah.
And I just couldn't see it. Whatever. But I keep on doing Dianetics, and the most crazy thing happened that takes things even further is, so now my YouTube channel is blowing up, 100,000 followers on YouTube. And
what year about
was now that? We are in 2013 still. Okay. 2013. And
that was an eventful year for you, huh?
Yes, it was a great year. And I contacted the CEO of Yellow Corner, which I'd been writing to for years and years and years and years. And there's a funny story. A friend of mine who had gave me the name of the owner said, "Oh, I heard you doing Dianetics again. Well done, it's great. And did you ever get into the galleries?" And I'm like, "No, he never answers my email. I've been writing him for 5 years." He's like, "Yeah, but now you're doing Dianetics. Miracles can happen." And I'm like, okay. And so literally, I'm on the phone with the guy. I take my MacBook Pro and I did something clever. I find the last email 2 years before the CEO of the company did not respond. And I said, "Hey, I looked at your YouTube channel. You only have 5,000 followers. I'm at 100,000 followers. Maybe we can do a deal." And so all that while being with my friend on the phone who was telling me, "Yeah, I'm doing Dianetics and I should do something." And I press enter. And within 10 seconds, the phone rings. And I'm like, "Can you imagine it's the guy?" And I pick up and it's the guy. And he says, "I was intrigued by your email. Come and see me." I go see him.
Wait. This was a draft email you never had sent? Or you just drafted it right there?
I was on the phone with the guy and he said, "You're doing Dianetics again."
You sent an email earlier and it never responded, right?
Yeah,
so
yeah.
Then you replied
I sent
to
many emails,
email.
which he never responded. I took the last email that I sent and I just pressed answer.
Again.
And I said, "Hey, I just passed 100,000 followers on YouTube. You only have 5,000. Maybe we can talk."
Good.
Boom. But it was a good button. It was the right push.
Yeah.
And but also the fact that what happens with Dianetics is every time I lose confidence in my dreams, I get it back with Dianetics. And so I was really in a good state. Let's say really, really happy to get back doing Dianetics. And so I send the email. He calls within 20 seconds. I'm still on the phone with my friend. I pick up. He says, "Come to see me next Thursday." Now, this gets ridiculous. I go there, and he's very cold. And he says, "We'll take 3 photos, see how they do in galleries." Fine. But he calls me a week after, and he says, "Hey, I looked at your website, and you do have a nice collection of Paris photos. We want to get into book publishing, and happens to that one of my best friends is the head of Flammarion. Now, Flammarion is the #1 publisher in France, biggest. And do you mind if I show him your website to see if we could do a co-publishing between Yellow Corner edition and Flammarion?" I'm like, "No problem." I'm like, I'm dancing, And I'm still making decent money with the courses and stuff like that. But, I'm not making money with my photography. I'm still doing some real estate photo shoots here and there to survive.
Did your website have the story part that you were talking about? Like, did your website have any story aspects of it, or
no? Actually, not that much.
Okay.
But the YouTube, yes.
The
social media, yes, a lot.
I'm wondering what could have changed. Like, the guy was not so close, and then
I think he watched me on YouTube, and that's what sold him. I think it's the storytelling on YouTube that changed his mind. And people
so underestimate the value of having long form content on YouTube explaining who you are or doing things where the people will pick up the story of who you are just by watching it.
Yeah, I love
So
what you
valuable.
do. I follow you on Instagram and all
thanks,
these
dude.
short story. And I mean, you're the only one guy I know in the world that has a construction company that does that.
Yeah.
But like, if I ever have a job, I want to work with you.
Yeah.
There's so much storytelling, so much care. You're like, this is my guy. You know, there's so much bad story in which you talk a lot about on your stories. I've been following you for 2 years at least.
Thanks, bro.
Yeah, and I'm like, wow, this guy's doing it. And anyway, so he watched my stuff and he says, I spoke to Flammarion. They actually love your work. They want to make a book. Co-publishing deal. Flammarion, Yellow Corner. Can you come and sign? It was on I think we're Wednesday and we had to sign on a Tuesday. On a Thursday, I get an email from a man named Henrik Tenhaus, who I had no idea who that was. He says, I want to make a book about Paris. I'm like, funny you say that because I'm signing Tuesday with the biggest publisher in France. And starts a 21 email exchange like, yeah, but we're one of the biggest publishers on the planet. We have offices in New York, LA. Like, you have no idea. It's like, yeah, but like, and I explained it's a co-publishing deal. They want to make 100 books with 100 photographers. I'm just the number one that they're doing that with. It's a big thing. It's like, I'm interested. Anyway, he ends up by telling me, call back Yellow Corner. I'm flying to Paris tomorrow. I want to meet the owner and I want to sell them the idea of doing the books with us. We've been doing books since World War II.
Wow.
Who is one of the biggest publishers on the planet. Blah, blah, blah. He walks in the next. So I called Yellow Corner, which I just met. I had 2 discussions with him. And it was like, he was so
He's
intrigued.
like, who the hell is this guy?
Exactly. So we meet the next lunch. And this lunch changes my life forever because it's crazy. I get to meet Paul-Antoine de Bréa, which is the second owner of Yellow Corner. Alexandre Metz, Paul-Antoine de Bréa. 2 amazing guys. I get to meet them. They're sitting there. And this guy walks in. And the guy from Germany, Henrik Tenhaus, was so handsome. He looked like James Bond. He was so handsome and he had this 2 beautiful blonde with him. He walks in like he owned the place. And he starts doing this whole thing and he's like, oh, Serge, I just don't want to do a 2-book deal. You guys should do the 100 books with us. And we'll do, the first 2 books will be about Serge. Serge, you can do New York, right? Never been to New York. Yeah, sure, I can do New York. And anyway, so we signed a really cool deal, a lot of money deal. And right there, we signed the deal on the spot. He had a contract, gets me to sign it.
But this is without the Enrique guy from the US.
No, this is with the guy. He flies in.
Okay.
He's in Berlin. Sorry,
but the second guy was not there. The original one who was going to do the co-publishing was not there.
No, he's there. He's with him.
So it's the 3 of them.
So you have Yellow Corner that wanted to co-publish with Flammarion. Another guy. They are not there.
Flammarion is not there.
But the 2 owners of the gallery are there.
Au revoir, Flammarion.
Yeah, au revoir, Flammarion.
Au revoir.
And the guy from Berlin. So it's a Berlin company. They have office in Europe, but they're based in Berlin. And Henrik Tenhaus flies in with 2 of his assistants, and they meet for the first time with Alexandre Metz.
And they sign right there.
So we sign right there a book deal for Paris and New York. But where it gets crazy is when we sign the deal, the guy walks out. The 2 owners of the gallery turn the chair around and look at me. It's like, you are a big deal, my friend. We're not going to take 3 photos. We're going to take 50 photos, and you're going to be our main photographer internationally.
What?
Yes, sir. And that deal makes me $500,000.
Wow.
$500,000 between
dollars or euros?
Dollars.
Okay.
About dollars. 400,000 euros about.
Wow.
Between the book sales, I made a lot of money with the galleries. Also, my course sales picks up because now I'm in the galleries, but the whole thing really does a big influence. And that's when I decided to move to the US because tax for artists is very oppressive in France. And so I moved to Hollywood right away. Because I only knew one guy that was in Hollywood. So I said, I was making $50,000 royalties a month. And I was like, and the tax would take like 80%. So I called the only person I knew in US. I says, can I wire you the money every month? Can I change it? Like open an LLC and I wired the money in US and I didn't know one and I moved to the US because maybe I was not trained enough, but I was literally losing 70% of all my royalties with the way I was set up. I've always wanted to be in the US anyway. It was the opportunity.
And how'd you get the visa or coming here? Like, how did you?
O1 visa, celebrity visa, because now I had a lot of press on me from the books.
O1 visa. So celebrity visa.
O1 is a visa called, I'm an American now, but I did a celebrity visa for 3 years and a green card celebrity. And then I became an American. And I got it because of the press article from the Yellow Corner thing, from the money I was making, because one of the criteria of the O1 is you making good money with your art, which I could prove it. And it was basically 3 things. Letters from celebrities endorsing me, which I had. I had a crazy story with MySpace Tom, the creator of MySpace.
Oh my God.
Who sponsored me to come. That's another whole story if you want to hear.
Your visa to come to the US was sponsored by Tom from MySpace.
Tom Anderson.
They're coming back, by the way.
Yeah.
Apparently, okay.
No
Really?
way.
I didn't know.
For real?
Yeah.
That'd be
Yeah.
huge.
Yeah,
They could.
he sponsored me. He wrote one of the 5 letters that, and he's
my
like,
gosh.
Huge.
just so you know, Tom Anderson was credited to be the creator of social media, and he helped me so much. Even on my movie, he helped me a lot.
Wait.
He did crazy stuff.
But how did
Hold
you
on.
meet Tom
Wait,
of MySpace?
what did you just say?
He helped me also on my movie
No,
stuff.
no, before that.
He was the
said
creator of social media.
No, but
Yeah,
you said...
MySpace was the first big social media before Facebook. So,
But I thought I heard you say he was created to be the creator of social media. Is that what you said?
no, he was credited by Time Magazine.
Accredited.
Accredited. Sorry, I am French.
Yes.
En français.
Oui.
He was accredited by Time Magazine to be one of the top 100 influential person because he created social media.
100%.
And so the way I met him, funny story. So I'm taking photos in Paris. I'm still in Paris taking photos, and he just sold MySpace. And he is good friend with a very famous photographer named Trey Ratcliffe. And Trey Ratcliffe happens to be in Paris doing a photo walk. And I'm a huge fan of Trey Ratcliffe. I'm like, I want to talk to and meet Trey. So I go there, and there's like 80 photographers. They're all like waiting in line to shake his hands. And there's this guy with him that seems to be his friend. And I walk away, and this guy comes to me and says, "Are you Serge Ramelli?" I'm like, "Yes, I am." He says, "I just bought you a Lightroom course. You have the best Lightroom course on the planet." I was like, "Oh, cool." He says, "Stick around. I'll introduce you to Trey." Then I walk around with him, and I'm like,
Wow.
"Oh," and the guy is younger than me. And I'm like, "What do you do?" He says, "Oh, I travel the world and I take photos." And I'm like, "Oh, where do you stay?" He says, "I'm at the Four Seasons. That's like $2,000-$3,000 a night." I'm like, "Oh." He says, and then, and like I found out he flies private. I'm like, "Can I ask you, like, how come you have so much money? Like, you seem to be very young." He says, "Well, I sold a famous website." And he's like, "What's the website?" He didn't want to tell me. He says, "Well, my name is Tom Anderson. I'm the creator of MySpace." And
So Tom of MySpace is now like a photographer.
oh my God, check out Instagram, MySpace Tom. The guy is an incredible photographer.
Really?
And apparently I helped a little bit on the training, on Lightroom. But the guy is so
Oh.
gifted. He's so gifted.
Wow.
And so we became friends. I stayed up with him and Trey till like 1 a.m. And then we really established a relationship, and he sponsored me. I mean, he was one of the, sponsored for my visa, but like, he had a lot of weight.
Yeah.
And so because we became friends, and I still have a connection with him today.
Wow.
And he helped me a lot when my first movie came out. That's another crazy story with Mark Zuckerberg and everything. It's a crazy story. Anyways, yeah.
I have to just comment. I think it's this is kind of I think it's a Grant Cardone quote, but it's not who you know, but who knows you.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
It's
That
actually
is absolutely a Grant
actually
Cardone quote.
unbelievable that like MySpace Tom is gonna recognize you in a crowd of people.
Yeah.
Literally out of
Unbelievable.
a lineup of
Yeah.
80
Do you know like
photographers.
that because you're delivering, like you're teaching, you're showing people how to get along,
Yeah.
Mhm.
and that's so powerful. I don't know. I just think that's just amazing.
Yeah, I
That's
mean,
all.
you never know
agree.
who's watching. Like, for example, I'm watching your stuff. If I build a house, I'm going to call you,
Yeah.
Because
If you need a milk frother, bro, you know where to go.
I know where to go.
Okay. I need to do more videos. Okay, go.
But anyway, my life took off from that moment on,
Wow.
because then I never looked back. And so then I started doing these workshops and teaching photography. And then I got back into filmmaking. It's a bit controversial, but I'm doing a full AI movie, 2 hours. It's almost
Wow.
done with the real actors. So the voice are real actors, but they kind of like how Avatar was done.
Yeah.
We even take motions from actors, and the whole movie is AI generated, but it's real actors. And so that's coming out in 2-3 months. We're almost done with. We're about to start the voiceover with the actors. And I'm very excited because it was a movie I was going to shoot for $2 million. I didn't have the money. And I was like, I could do it for $50,000 with AI. It's mostly money going to not the AI, but to actors.
Mhm.
Kind of like the way you would do as a Simpson or a cartoon,
Sure.
It's, except that we're using AI tools. I mean,
Yeah.
Avatar is real actors playing in 3D software.
Yeah.
It's kind of the same idea,
very
especially
similar.
the latest one where it's mostly 3D stuff.
Totally.
So it's the same idea, except that instead of using Unreal Engine, we're using Kling, which is an AI tool. And so I'm very passionate about that right now.
What's the distribution of that going to be like for that movie?
So I have a high ticket model to it. I do not want a Hollywood distribution. I'm going to distribute myself, but I'm going to sell high-end training on AI, that's going to finance the movie. So I'm going to just put it up on YouTube, boost it on YouTube. It's going to be a funnel. And then people...
So it's going to be basically free to watch.
It's totally free to watch.
Oh, the movie is the top of your AI training funnel.
Yes.
Oh.
And then let me show you how I did this movie.
Exactly.
Yeah,
and
that's
we'll go very
genius.
deep, like on even distribution and ads and how we made the movie and how we made the voiceover and the editing. Like, you want to be a filmmaker with AI? I believe AI is, people which are against AI is kind of like, being against, George Lucas just said it like last week, it's kind of like being against cars, when there was horses, it's a tool and you have to use it, I don't know if you know, but I did this song called You're Not Your Body that went kind of viral, and it's all, I wrote the lyrics, but it was done by AI. And
have you seen this or heard this?
Never ever have I produced.
We'll put it in the link. I'm going to find out. Send me the link. I'll put it in the show notes.
It's so good.
Never ever in my life have I produced something that got me so many people writing to me than that song. Oh my God. You have no idea. I've had a girl, it's a definition of reality. She says, I had 20 people in 24 hours from different places of the world sharing the link to me in 24 hours.
Wow.
20 people, and it's, and so I think that's a good use of AI. It's, whether you tell the story around a fire or you have like everything 3D generated with 5 screens and water's being spread on you, you're telling a story. People want to hear good stories. And so I want to create here in Clearwater a production studio where I can make AI and non-AI movies. I'm starting with this one because that's the money I have now. And we have a big TV show coming up that we're going to do the same idea, real actors, with AI called Time Quest. It's a whole past life story thing, 20 minutes episodes, full science fiction. And I'm going to create a community around that and sell training around it and try to make a business. And I'm very excited about the story. We have like seasons written already and stuff like that.
I got to say, I love that you're so just openly interested in past lives and that just being such a passion for you.
Oh, my whole production company, every story is based on past life. Everything is on past life.
Yeah. How has been the like, because you've already published some of this stuff.
Yeah. Time Quest, I did a pilot, which is on YouTube right now and got great comments on it.
Yeah. So what's the feedback you're getting from people?
Incredible. I mean, just look at Time Quest, which is a science fiction show, which is all about past life, is probably one of my, I don't have haters so far. I'm probably not big enough to have haters. I need to go, I'm missing my haters. But so far, it's been good. Like the You're Not Your Body, which is all about past life video, has like 300,000 stream on Spotify, 60,000 view organically on YouTube.
Yeah.
And I put it on the dead channel. I didn't put it on my main channel because I didn't want to. My main channel is really about Lightroom and Photoshop.
Yeah.
So I put it on a dead channel, 60,000 views.
Wow.
And like, look at the comments. You'll cry. It's incredible.
Wow.
Like
they're actually, he's shown me the comments. They're amazing.
Wow.
They're unreal.
Like people saying, like, I've listened to this 20 times. A lot of people, especially older people or people that have lost someone, when they listen to the song, it really gives them hope that you're not just a body and that, that's the whole theme. You're not your body, you can live again. And, you're not the sum of all your fears. You're not the sum of all your pain. You are a spirit. I mean, I'll show it to you after the podcast. It's kind of cool.
Yeah.
I wish you do a rap version.
Yeah. You can do the rap version.
I mean, you might, you know what I mean? Like, with AI, you could just take the same song.
Yeah.
Oh, 100%.
And put 30 versions of. You could do a rock. You could do romance. You could do country. You could do
100%.
No, I mean
there's an AI artist. Yes, absolutely you can. There's an AI artist called Shifty Brent, which takes 50 Cent songs, but they're done in basically like almost like a gospel singing voice, but it's 50 Cent songs like in the club.
Many Men.
Or like Many Men, exactly. But they're so good.
Yeah,
I literally listen to them because I enjoy them.
That's great.
It's an AI artist.
Yeah. I want to about just on the topic of AI. It's still creation from humans.
100%.
Like at the end of the day,
we should
it's
talk about
people creating something.
Yeah. I'll give you an example. I have a lot of people spending like $15,000 to fly to Iceland, to get up at 5 a.m. to shoot a Versterhorn, which is means the horn from the west. It's one of the nicest beaches in the world. And, and they'll maybe use some AI stuff to take out some dust or a couple of rocks, which because now Lightroom and Photoshop, which are the two main software we use in photography, has tons of AI. Like we have AI masking where we can select the sky and make it better. They'll use this kind of tools, because, it's funny because photography manipulation has existed the day photography was invented.
Yep.
You know, I've read Ansel Adams' books. If you see how he would manipulate his negative, I had a friend. She was doing movie stars photos in the 70s.
Yeah.
She said she would spend about 25 hours on a portrait with a needle to get out all the, things off or whatever to make the skin smoother and stuff like that. 25 hours on a negative. I don't know exactly how they used to do it, but she said you have no idea the work that it took.
Yeah.
And Ansel Adams, I spoke to Clyde Butcher, who...
So all pictures are fake. No, I'm kidding.
100%.
Just Photoshop, bro. Just Photoshop.
That's actually, I didn't know that. I just want to say you've been illuminated me. Like,
it's hard, man.
That's crazy.
Yeah. But
you would think like, back then it was, no Photoshop, all natural.
My God. They would dodge and
That's
burn.
the story. That's definitely the story.
They would dodge and burn. They would dodge and burn a lot, meaning they would make things a lot darker and brighter to guide the eye of the viewer. Sometimes on high-end portrait, they would with a needle erase stuff. The key thing is, I'm not a photojournalist. I'm here to create art, okay? And yes, I'm trying to put quality.
I'm not a photojournalist.
Yeah, I'm not here to take a photo and it has to be reality. Like, some photos I do a lot of retouching on, some I don't. But what I tell people is you have to be like a magician. You cannot show your tricks. One big issue I had as a photographer, cool. When I used to show my work 15 years ago, is that people would go, "Oh, it's nice, but you photoshopped it. Oh, it's nice, but you use a filter," as the first emotional reaction. And that's just an indicator that you're not a professional retoucher. When you're a professional retoucher, you don't see that. You don't see the string.
You only it's pure beauty.
Yeah, because if you go a little too off on saturation, and I'm still guilty of it, but today I teach something called the natural drama, which is kind of like what this painting does. Like, I want things to be dramatic, but look natural. That sunset could have existed, but some people, they retouch the sunset a little too magenta, and it's kind of like, what I say goes beyond human experience. It's like, that sunset would work on Mars, but not on Earth, And so when you do that, people react to, "Oh, it's nice, but you did something to it." So that's what I teach. It's like, how can you be a professional retoucher so you can just create an emotional impact with your work and you don't show your tricks, Yeah. And sometimes, you get like incredible sunset, take a photo, you do 3 little slider, When you take your iPhone and you look at the sun or you look at the sky, you'll see often it's bluer than what it is. You just do that. Because there is an iPhone in real time retouches 256 operation, saturation, contrast, shadows, highlights in real time. It retouches the photo for you. So what we do as photographer...
What?
Yeah.
That makes
okay, hold
sense.
on.
It's fully manipulated.
So
sharpening.
The iPhone, before you take the picture,
in real time,
already modified it.
What
100%.
You're seeing on the screen is already touched up.
Yeah, I mean, just look at reality. You look at reality, you look at your phone, it's not the same. It's...
Wow.
Wow. So a normal picture, so any picture that basically is on the internet has been basically retouched, basically. Other than if you have like an old school camera or something.
But even then, like, I just shot Leica M6, which is a 1984 camera. I did a whole shoot on Paris on film. Sent all my film to thedarkroom.com. Got the scan, then re-edited it with color, and I redid everything in black and white with Ansel Adams' 1940s, 50s retouching techniques to make them, much more interesting. So, it's been. So the classy word we use, we developed our photo. We shoot raw. So raw means there's no software interaction. It's just what the sensor captured. And then...
Dude, that's the best definition of raw I've ever heard in my life. I've asked like 10 people, what does it mean when you say that's a raw video? And they're like, oh, it's just from the camera. But what they're not saying is sometimes there's
the camera already
retouching
already
you don't even have control over.
250 apparently.
Well, the truth
that's just the iPhone.
Yeah, but the truth is, like, even like I shoot with Hasselblad, Leica, Sony, and a lot of high-end cameras. All of them has a different way to make the sensor, and they have a different way to interpret. We call that color science. So even that, like for example, Leica, incredible color science. Like Hasselblad, which are the 2 most expensive camera, they have like the raw file looks already a little bit retouched. The way they handle colors is way different than Sony and Canon. So. But you still have to develop it. You have to develop it, and that's why we use Lightroom. Lightroom is a developing software, meaning it's just a list of instructions, make it brighter here, darker, more colorful. But it never touched the raw file. The raw file never gets touched. It's just a list of instructions, and then you have a better version. You've developed the photo, just like we used to develop photos in the darkroom back in the day. But
I have an analogy I want to share.
Okay.
It's kind of like a human being. There's no such thing as a raw human. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, you have a child.
Yeah.
Every person, we've been touched, changed, modified by life. Life happens.
Yeah.
Education, experiences. They're like, what is a raw human? Like, you know what I mean? They say like, oh, whatever, a person gets corrupted or gets whatever. But in life, if you do a good job, you take the raw and you're going to develop, you're going to nurture, you're going to grow, you're going to shape, you're going to mold, you're going to guide it to be better.
100%.
But that's like a raw picture. It's not supposed to just be like, okay, it's absolutely impossible to have, like, I don't know, a person come out and not be influenced.
Yeah.
The world is going to influence a person, the person influence the world. It's going to happen. Same with the photograph. Like, you can work on it and make it better. That's retouching or touch. I don't know why it's called retouching instead of just touching.
You
touch it
developing and
once.
retouching,
Developing.
developing. Developing.
Anyway, I don't know. I just think like it's this idea of everything can be improved.
Yeah.
And in photography, you're just taking out the beauty. You're increasing it and making it more impactful, more beautiful, and more like art. There's no, like, it's kind of weird to say like just leave it how it is, because otherwise you don't need a photo. I mean, you have to go visit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, the thing is, when I see a photographer that comes to me and is like, oh, I can't make money with my photos, and the thing is, you have to invest in mindset and techniques. So what I tell people is, you train until you can create an emotional impact. Whether you're a sculptor, a painter, you train. And Hubbard, who wrote Dianetics, did something called the Art Series. There's a book which was called the Art Book. Unbelievable book. I actually studied the book. I'll
put the link in the description.
And one thing that he says is, you keep on training, you keep on developing your techniques until you can create an emotional impact.
Yeah.
And often when I find photographers that are not successful, is usually their stuff is good, but it's not there yet, because they need to train more to create really an emotional impact, or they are there, but they have the Vincent van Gogh phenomena where they're not, and they should invest in marketing training. There's a lot of, Alex Hormozi and many incredible marketing people today in our world that you can just, I study a lot marketing with, big marketing gurus around the planet. It's incredible. Like, there's a technique to it, and, but you have to get good at marketing, and you have to create an emotional impact. You have to do both. There's no way you can, otherwise there's going to be Vincent van Gogh. You're going to pass away, and then someone in your family will do the marketing for you, and you're going to become famous. You might get the money next lifetime if, they're a Scientologist, but,
if they do the Dalai Lama trust.
If they
do
the
Lama trust.
The Dalai Lama
the Tom Cummins
trust.
trust.
Okay. Wow. Serge, why do you still go and put all this time? I mean, like, for yourself, you've covered like your basic expenses. What drives you to keep going? More photographs, more courses, more things, the movie. What's behind this drive?
Because I want to finance two projects. One project that I want to finance is I want to create a studio here in Clearwater that can make movies about past life at a big scale. And that needs money. And I have another project that I'm working on is homeschooling. I want to do a homeschooling project because I work a lot with Stephen Ridley for many years. I used to manage the Ridley Academy with him, and I see what I do and what he does. When you teach the right way, people win. And the right way is using something called a study technology, which is very simple. Don't give words that people don't understand. Like, I'm very careful. I'll give you an example that happened to me 2 days ago. I was trying to figure out how to do automatic edits on Claude AI, which is an AI, with my videos. Like, you drag and drop it, you tell it what to do, and it makes. I watched 20 videos. My gosh, people are giving words I don't understand. I go blank, you know? And I ended up reading the documentation, figuring out, and I was so upset. I said, I'm going to make a video and explain to the world how you edit a video using study technology. And I did. And it's probably the best video out there on how to use Claude AI to do a video. I promise you, watch it, you'll see.
Send me the link. I'll put it in the show notes.
There we go.
I never give a word that people don't understand. I give examples only. Like, I remember studying Photoshop, where you had this book where you had to study all the filters and what they do. No. I'm going to show you how to enhance the sky. I'm going to show you how to change the color of a dress. I'm going to show you how to do a montage. It's examples only. And by gradient. Simple first, a little harder, a little harder, a little harder, a little harder. You skip that, you lose the guy. And third thing is the gradient and the example is the three things. no words that people understand, good gradients, and a lot of math, a lot of examples, no theory, zero theory, examples only. Like right now I'm doing a training where I give my students the best photo I took of the year, and I say, you got to retouch it. So I'm on Zoom, and I'm saying, okay, open that slide, do that slider. I do it on my computer on Zoom, and they do it. Okay, why did I do that? And they do it. They actually at home retouch my photo, and they really have a win at the end. They're like, wow, I pulled that off. I developed that photo properly, professionally.
You give them the raw or what?
I give them the raw. I said, don't sell it because it's worth a lot of money. And, but, give me the credit if you publish it. And, because I travel all over the world. And then I said, you retouch my photo. I'll show you how, and I'll show you why I do what I do. And mimicry is the best way to learn. And so anyway.
That's right. He mainly learns to mimic.
And so I have this homeschooling project. I got Emilio, which is my grandson, and he wants to be homeschooled. My daughter wants to homeschool him, and so I want to see if I can use something using Study Tech where I can do a really cool homeschooling program. There's a few that exist. I'm studying right now, but I have this whole idea. I want to make it like on an iPad with video games and cartoons, because kids are just watching their iPad. So I'm like, I want to be where they are with the technology, like super video games to learn basic things. I don't know. I have this sort of dream to do that.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm going hard, because I have 16 families to provide for, but I also have these 2 projects I want to finance.
Makes
I
total
hope
sense.
that answers your question.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. Dude, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
In your own words, what is Scientology?
Scientology is the tools that gave me the life that I've always dreamed of, being able to live off my passion. Scientology is the technique that gave me the self-confidence to stop destroying myself, believing a little bit more in myself, and doing what it takes to make it. As I said, without Scientology, I would be a car salesman. Nothing against car salesmen, but I would be a car salesman with with an alcoholic or drug addict and a 4 ex-wife and very overweight. I owe everything to what I did with my mom in Dianetics and what I studied with Scientology. That's why I talk about it all the time, because it really, gave me the confidence to do what I'm doing today. I haven't worked in 16 years. I just have a lot of fun, and it gave me the tools to do that. I don't know what else to say,
Yeah. Wow,
amazing.
It's beautiful.
And if someone's going to start, how should someone start? I want to know some, I want to have this kind of change in my life. Where should they start in the journey?
There's 2 books which I really recommend, which one is Dianetics. I really, really, because Dianetics, you will understand why you have all these demons and why you're thinking a little weird sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
And watching Scientology TV, amazing, because you'll see, inside of Scientology, I love listening to the lectures from Hubbard. There's so many cool stuff, so many cool stories. Scientology, incredible. If you feel depressed, watch 2 hours of Scientology TV.
Yes.
And you'll feel better, And New Slant on Life. I am in love with that book. New Slant on Life is very easy tools to play the game of life. Scientology helped me from being affected by life, being played by life, where I play with life.
Mm-hmm.
And I love that, And I'm not going to make the mistake that I did before, where I sort of don't do it for years. I keep studying very regularly, even if I was away for 3 months, I'm going back, doing some courses, because it just pumps me up, man.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I feel I can do anything. I love that.
And you can.
Amazing.
Amazing. Well, I still have a lot of mountains to go to. I think it's a journey more than every time I've achieved something. I remember when I got picked up by Vegas. Oh, I didn't tell you the Vegas story.
Oh,
last one. Let's do it.
I finish a big Dianetic step, and I get a text from a company called Frequency Plus saying, we need you to reshoot Vegas. And I'm like, what? I thought it was a scam at first. And
what does it reshoot mean? Okay.
They said, look, because the mayor, I think was named Barbara Goodman at the time, because of the I forgot the name, the sphere, the big sphere that totally shaped Vegas, and they hadn't done a photo shoot since COVID. And so we need a fresh viewpoint on Vegas. We've been at it for a year. We have shortlisted 70 photographers, and the mayor picked you. Actually, he didn't tell that to me right away. We saw the most money I ever made on a photo shoot. I flew to Vegas. It was crazy. I got there. I had this helicopter that was like $28,000 an hour. Flew for 90 minutes. We had the champion of the world of drones with us. We had like big inspired drones where I was a photographer on, and it was a pilot closing street, going on all the rooftop. And then I start talking to one of the girls that works at the mayor office. She says, "You don't know this. I don't know how true that is, but there was 70-person enlist, and the mayor of Vegas saw your photo of Paris. She says, I want him and nobody else. No amount of money he wants. Let's go with him." But they told that to me after I signed
After you found out how
looks
much
like
money.
I could have made more money. And so I ended up doing 3,000 photos for Vegas.
Wow.
Because, when you're on a helicopter, you go,
Wow.
I had 2 cameras, blah, 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 because you go fast, Caesar Palace, boom, we're in seconds. So, I had 2 cameras. We shot during the night. We shot mostly, dawn and dusk, basically, mostly. Because Vegas during the day is not very nice. And it was funny because the mayor office came to me at one point and said, "Oh, we love everything you do, but we want some blurry photos." I said, "What do you mean blurry photos?" "Yeah, when you have something sharp and everything is very blurry, we want to use that for brochure." And so I had the Leica Q3, which is a very nice, that does this kind of effect where you can take something. So I was walking up the street and just looking so you have the Caesar Palace completely blurry, and you have like one rose that's super sharp kind of thing, Anyways, and so I gave them a library of 3,000 raw files. They're probably going to pick somebody else in a couple of years, but for now, ladies and gentlemen, I am the official photographer. I have the contract to prove it of the city of Vegas, and they have 3,000 raw files that are using to promote the city, and I'm very proud of that.
Wait, do you don't retouch them then? They retouch it?
So I retouched about 200 for them, but they were like, they have their own retoucher. So they said, give us all 3,000.
Okay.
And I gave them all 3,000. And because, also, I love the idea of being the official photographer of Vegas, out of 70 photographer, 1 year casting and came number 1. That's kind of crazy.
That's huge.
It is crazy.
And are any of those photos out yet? Like, are they?
Yeah, I'm sure. I don't really know what they do with it. I just know it goes to a library that all the hotels have access to. So let's say the Caesar Palace wants a photo of the Strip. They can just pick and use that in the brochure. I don't know. I gave it to R&R and Frequency Plus, which are the 2 big agencies working with the convention center of Vegas.
Wow. So Las Vegas, basically, the city thinks of itself as a giant marketing engine for all the people
they have
there
something called
to
the convention.
Pull people in.
Yeah, they have the convention center that provides marketing tools for. That's what I shoot for. But it was really under the mayor's office,
Wow.
And it was cool. And I think they also picked me because I've done 8 coffee table books on New York, Paris, Venice, Los Angeles. So there's not many photographers around the world that have so many books than I do. There's only 2 that I know of that have as much books on cities that I do. Like, I have Barcelona, Venice, Los Angeles, New York, 2 books in New York, 2 books in Paris, just finished London. I'm working on Copenhagen. So, there's big books. So, it makes sense if you're looking for somebody a bit official in that field. I'm kind of there.
That's amazing.
Wow.
Okay, well, remember, guys, and I want to say it came up in your talk naturally, but the theme of this is don't do nothing. So remember, always do something. Don't do nothing. You are powerful. You are capable. You can make your dreams come true. Thank you very much. Serge, Brad, let's go.